Welcome to Homeschool is a Work of Heart. I'm Melissa Webb, and after years in the classroom and years homeschooling and supporting those in home education, and even more years creating curriculum for families like yours, I have learned this. Homeschooling isn't about perfection. It is about purpose. And this podcast is here to encourage you, to guide you, and to remind you that what you're doing truly matters. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Well, hello, homeschoolers. Welcome back to Homeschool is a Work of Heart. I am getting over a cold, so I apologize if my voice is a little bit off today, but I am getting better, and I will be 100% restored before you know it. Today's podcast, though, I planned to be short and sweet to kind of take a break for my voice, but still offer you something based on some things that I'm hearing. I want to keep things simple enough because I know for many of us, August has been anything but simple. At least that's how I feel. Is that how you have felt? It's the start of a new school year. So there's all this planning and prepping and contemplating, and it can feel chaotic. It does for me, and I know because I speak to so many of you that you feel this way as well. So I want you to know I get it. I really do. I'm in there with you. It might look a little different, but there's so many things that are still very similar for both of us. And I know your heart. You want to do so well at this job. You want to get it right. You envision these great things in your homeschooling family experience, and then suddenly you put things into some form of implementation and things aren't so great. We've all been there, and I know that somewhere out there, someone listening right now is or maybe knows a homeschool mom who is already questioning herself. She's wondering, did I pick the wrong curriculum? Does this schedule not work for us? Have we signed up for too many things? Have I not signed up for enough things? Have I somehow already managed to mess up a school year when it has barely started? I hear you. I've been that mom myself. And if you are that mom right now, this episode is dedicated to you. And here's what I want you to remember. Your first month of any school year is data. It's not a verdict, okay? It's a collection of information. It is not a sign that this year is already a failure. No. I want you to consider this, and you know how much I love sharing thoughts with you, and I love hearing your thoughts. If you can imagine me, we're all at this really big, beautiful party, very glamorous and glitzy. It's beautiful. I'm walking around and I have a silver platter with all these hors d'oeuvres just laid beautifully out. They are delightful things that you're looking at, okay? And these are all thoughts. They're great thoughts, and they're there for you to take if you want them. And just imagine I walk up to you and I say, oh, this right here, this one, you should try this. It's amazing. All right, and it might say this thought, something like, whatever is happening in your homeschool right now is giving you important information. Just imagine that thought. Now, I'm going to tell you, if you take that off my silver platter, because you're like, I do want to believe that, you also have to throw away like an old dirty napkin the thought that's telling you, this year is already a failure. You got to get rid of that one. Do we have a deal? Get rid of the ones that are not serving you well and pick up a better thought. I'm going to share a few with you today. And I want you to remember that just because things haven't gone as smoothly as you were hoping right out of the gate of this new school year, and maybe you're still needing to make changes every day, it's okay. This does not mean that the rest of the school year is going to be like this. All right. The beginning of anything is supposed to feel new. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I want you to think about the first time you drove somewhere that you had never been before. Maybe there was a new store that you heard of, or a new restaurant, or maybe one of your kiddos made a new friend, and so you were going to drive to a house for a new play date, and you've never been to this place before. Now, in that beginning, you probably gave a lot of attention to every turn. You were watching the street signs. You were checking your GPS. You maybe wondered if you already passed the place. You maybe even turned down the radio because apparently that helps us see better. Do you do that? I have done that. I don't know why, but if I really need to focus, I'm like, turn that down. It will help me see better. I know it has to do with how I'm thinking, I'm sure, but you get it. But then think about that same route 10 times later. You barely think about it, right? You don't have to put it into the GPS anymore. Did it change? No, you did. You became more confident. You knew what you were doing and where you were going. And so while, yes, at first it required a lot of mental energy, eventually it became familiar. And now you hardly think twice. You're like, oh, we're here already. So that's exactly what's happening in this new school year too. And I use this analogy in the parent orientation meetings that I held this past week because it applies to our programs as well as any other curriculum or plan that you are starting new. Anything that you're implementing. It could be new curriculum or a new teacher or taking some new classes. It could be trying to remember all those new passwords. It could be new expectations that you've set up, new routines. Maybe you're even adopting a completely new way of running your school day. So it's all new. It feels harder. It's okay. There's nothing wrong. New things take longer before they take less time. And that's perfectly okay. So before you decide something isn't working and you want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, I want you to give everyone a chance to learn the new route. There are 3 things this week that I want you to consider. So here I come with my silver platter. I want you to take what you like, multiple things. If you're really hungry for good thoughts, I've got you. And then again, you have to remember to get rid of whatever it is that's not serving you. We don't need those excess calories. Get rid of what's not truly delightful. Okay? So here's a thought for you. How do you like this one? Confusion is simply information. I love this thought. I use this one all the time. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to ignore any problems. In fact, I do the opposite. So I really pay attention to confusion. Yes, confusion in my own mind, of course, but I hear confusion sometimes from a student in comments that they may share, or a family who's having a hard time onboarding some of our new information or pieces of the materials that they're going to need. And it's very helpful. And I'm never upset when somebody is frustrated and emails me and says, I am just so frustrated. I thought this was going to be easier. I can just hear they're not happy. But what I choose to think on purpose is, I am so glad they are sharing their frustrations. This is good information. They're confused. And like I said, confusion is valuable information. That's all it is. So I want you to know you can do that too. It feels a little magical, I have to say. I don't get emotional at all. I get curious. It's my favorite emotion. So for you, I don't know what it is. Maybe your mornings have been consistently chaotic. Okay, that's just information. Maybe you have a child who's melting down every time you say, okay, let's read from our history book. Okay, no reason to be upset. That's just information. Maybe you were like, we're going to homeschool. This is our first year. We're going to do 5 days a week. But you've tried it now for 2 weeks and you've only gotten through 4 days every week, not 5. That's okay. That's information. What if we just thought there's nothing wrong? All of this confusion, all this frustration, it's just giving me information. Maybe you thought that something was only going to take you 30 minutes to do, and it took you an hour and a half. That's definitely information. And that's good because information gives us something to work with. It does not mean anybody has failed. Nope, it doesn't. When I get those kind of emails, I don't feel like I failed. I know my program works. It's just I need to do a better job of onboarding a new person or answering some questions. It certainly doesn't mean they failed. They're still figuring things out as well. So instead of immediately thinking, well, this isn't working, you should probably leave our program, or this isn't working, I think we're going to quit this program, try asking a good question. What is this teaching me? That's where I get curious. What is this teaching me? What do I need to do differently? And it could be all kinds of things. And I don't know for you. Maybe you thought your children would be more independent from the start and they're not. So they need a little bit more of you. Maybe you thought you could all get going at 8 a.m., but you're learning. We're not really done with breakfast, getting dressed, cleaning up our rooms, doing our daily devotion. We're really not ready to start until 9:30 or 10. Okay, good information. Maybe all of the things you're doing are making you outside of the home more than you want to be, so you don't feel like you're able to get things done. Or maybe you're inside too much and they're getting restless. Information, that's information. Maybe you made a beautiful color-coded schedule back in July, and you're all of a sudden realizing this looks great on paper. It is not working with these human beings. I've done that. And that's okay. It's information. All I want you to do is gather that data and then make small adjustments that make sense. All right, here's a second thought on my silver platter for you. How about this thought? More time is sometimes a gift in disguise. Sometimes that's all we need. We just need a little more time to figure things out. Nobody's expected to figure things out in a moment's notice. Time is a gift. It really is. That's why we call it the present. I know, cliche, but I think it's true. So this is where I think homeschool parents can get themselves into trouble. We have so many choices, almost too many choices. It is a wonderful thing about homeschooling, but it can also be one of the hardest things. Because the minute that something feels difficult, we can toss that out and try something new. Another class, another method, another schedule, another person on social media that said this works beautifully in her home. Now, sure, sometimes we do need to change direction, absolutely. But I promise you, more times than not, we simply need to give something more time to become familiar. And there is a very big difference between something being a poor fit versus it's just new and we're figuring it out. So before you abandon whatever it is you're thinking about abandoning, I really want you to ask yourself, is this truly not working, or are we just not really good at it yet? Yet is such a powerful word. It gives us time. And those are two very different things. Learning usually does have an awkward stage. That's been my experience. Learning to write, learning to read, learning our multiplication tables, learning a new routine. At first it's awkward, and that's okay. Most worthwhile things feel awkward at first, and that's how it is. What we don't want to do is confuse this feels uncomfortable, clunky, awkward. Don't confuse that for this doesn't work. Again, two different things. So sometimes time is the best gift you can give yourself. The third and final thought that I have for you this week is that something can be hard and also not too hard. This thought came to me over the summer when I picked up running again, which was really hard for me. And it's just a 5K. I'm just trying to do a few miles. And it's hard. But I heard this, is it too hard? And I thought, no, it's not too hard. It's hard, but it's not too hard. And so I want to offer that up. things, sure, they've probably been hard for you if they haven't been going smoothly, but hard is okay. And I want you to resist the temptation to predict that September or October is also going to be rough simply because of how the beginning of the school year has played out for you. Okay, it was hard, but was it too hard? There's a chance you just don't have enough information yet. Collect more data. Maybe you just need to give these routines a little more time. Maybe you need to give your kiddos a little more time. They're coming out of a more relaxed summer back into a routine. That can take time. And are you giving yourself some time? You're not expected to be perfect at this. That's never the goal. Perfection is our enemy. What we want is progress. I recommend you start a notebook. Jot things in your journal. What did work well for us this past week or past couple weeks? Write it down. That, my friend, is valuable information. You may need to change things that clearly need changing. I am not here to tell you don't change the things that clearly need changing. I want you to do that. But what I don't want you to do is overhaul everything just because the beginning feels like a hard beginning. It's likely not too hard for you to figure this out. I want you to fast forward. Let's go 3 weeks into the future, and all of a sudden you have that child who needed to sit beside you for every assignment, and suddenly he looks at you and he's like, Mom, I know what to do. I mean, that's celebration time. It's coming. Those are such good moments when things click. Ugh, I am just so glad that I stuck with things. And I know you will be too, because that is celebratory, and I want you to have those. Again, some things may need to go. That's okay. You can make those decisions, but please make those decisions based on information rather than on a feeling of frustration. And I want you to remember, as you move into this weekend and the next week, just remember the start of a new school year is just a collection of data, not a verdict for how the whole year will be. Your job right now is not to have the entire school year figured out. What you're doing right now is paying attention to where you are in this time, in this place, and pay attention to those kids. Notice what they're liking, what they're not liking, what's working, what's not working. Be willing to learn. Make small adjustments. Believe that time is a gift. You can do this. You absolutely can do this. And just because it's hard doesn't mean it's too hard. I want you to give good things enough time to become familiar. I want you to experience the other side of that. It feels amazing. Please remember also to keep learning alongside your kids. Keep making all the small adjustments, and also remember why it is that you are doing what you've chosen to do. You don't have to. You have other options, but you're choosing to do this. And that's because something is important to you. So what really matters? Focus on that. And I promise you, everything else will fall into place. Have a wonderful school year, my friends. Right on. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And hey, if you are feeling stretched thin and you would love some support with teaching writing, I offer programs designed to make that part of homeschooling easier and more enjoyable for both you and your child. I also have free resources on my website, so please be sure to check those things out and subscribe to the podcast. You do not have to do this alone. Right on.